What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I thought I was going to get away from doing automotive content here on this channel. However, I came across a car dealership in Countryside, Illinois called Countryside Mitsubishi. And this is a video that you guys are going to want to watch because this dealership makes Carvana look like a fairy tale. A lot of really shady stuff going on, mainly from their finance manager, Zaya. And this is a video you're going to want to watch, so stay tuned. So for those of you that's been following my channel since 2020, when it was a big automotive channel, and or I say big, 11, 12,000, 13,000 subscribers was on here at one point. You guys know that I like to constantly buy and sell cars and trade cars and flip cars, and I get bored with the vehicle after a while and so forth and so on. So I've been driving my 2021 Volkswagen Tiguan now for a little over a year, and it's a great car. I really haven't had a lot of issues with it. However, now that that thing is paid off and I'm still doing a lot of driving for work and for everything else that I do in my daily life, I decided that I wanted to get a Tesla again. For those of you that have been following me for a long time, when I lived out in Hawaii, I had a 2018 Tesla Model 3 Performance that I had like a love-hate relationship with. I liked the car because it was fun to drive and so forth and so on. However, I hated it because where I lived in Hawaii, the price to charge the car was astronomical. And so after like 3 months of owning it, I sold it and got something else. Well, anyway, right now here in the state of Illinois, the state of Illinois is offering a $4,000 tax incentive or tax rebate that you get to utilize the moment you buy the car at the dealership. It's applied to the deal as a down payment on your loan or on your vehicle. So it looks really good to the banks when you're going to buy a vehicle because it looks like you're giving a $4,000 down payment when realistically you're not putting anything down, you're just signing and driving. So I have been looking quite a bit. I have been all over the place here in the Chicagoland area trying to find a vehicle that I liked, also that had decent miles on it, and that the dealership was willing to do the $4,000 tax credit as a down payment. There's some that will do it, some that will not do it, some that'll tell you file it after you buy the car. And so it's kind of like a hit or miss trying to find a dealership that will actually do it. Now, Countryside Mitsubishi was willing to do it, and they actually prefer to do it that way. And of course they do because the money comes to them. So I found this 2018 Tesla Model 3 long range, had 58,000 miles on it, was the titanium gray color, metallic gray, whatever you want to call it. Black interior, one owner, previous owner was from Highland Park, Illinois, which if you're from this area, Highland Park is a very ritzy neighborhood. And so, when I seen that on the Carfax, I was like, okay, let me go ahead and snatch this up because with it coming from this area, more than likely the car was very well taken care of. And I can tell you from the photos and stuff like that, the car is pretty much flawless. So submitted the credit application through Countryside Mitsubishi's website. They have what they call volume cars. And volume cars is essentially their way of trying to be like Carvana, where you can buy the car completely online and you're not supposed to have any go back and forth with the dealer or with a salesman or whatever. And so I submitted my credit application. And almost immediately I started getting text messages. Text messages were absolutely aggravating. And we've all been there. We've dealt with car dealerships, and you guys know that as soon as you submit your information, most of the time before your finger's even off the enter button, you've got somebody from the dealership calling you and texting you and emailing you and everything else. And it was no exception. What I found interesting was I later found out, actually today, that the text messages was coming from their AI software, which they have named Jerry. Now, Jerry was a pain in the ass, to be quite frank and honest with you guys. Jerry didn't understand what I was saying. I kept telling Jerry, if it really was Jerry, this is what they're telling me. And after you hear the rest of this story, you probably will be on my side when I am saying I highly doubt it was Jerry. If it was somebody by the name of Jerry, it was probably a real person that was just super unprofessional like the rest of them. So Jerry kept texting me. I kept telling Jerry, I've already started the application. I've already started the buy it now process through the online portal. No, I don't want to come in for a test drive. Just go ahead and run everything, process everything. Let's get it done and over with. So I finally got fed up and I blocked it. Well, then this morning I wake up to more text messages, very similar to the ones I was getting last night. And I basically went off on them and told them to kick rocks, that I would just go back through Carvana like I did with my Volkswagen. And I was done dealing with them. See, what a lot of people don't realize is I have a settlement that's getting ready to pay out here in the next 30 to 60 days. And I plan on paying whatever car off that I buy. So anyway, with that being said, Zaya reached out to me via text this morning, and he apologized profusely and basically begged me for my business. And so I said, you know what, if you are going to deal with me directly, I don't have to deal with a salesperson or anybody else, I'll go ahead and I'll do the deal. Well, he proceeds to tell me, he says, okay, I'll go ahead and deal with you. I'll take care of you. You know, I apologize profusely for what happened. Just so you know, your actual salesman is Raul. And I said, well, Raul's probably a nice guy, but I don't want to deal with him. I'll deal with you if you want to make the sale. If you don't, that's fine. There's other dealerships. So he and I, and just talking and things like that, I explained to him, I used to be a finance manager for a dealership in San Antonio called the Auto Group of San Antonio. They were a fabulous place, family owned. However, they ended up closing and selling the land and the dealership. It got tore down and an apartment complex got built there. With that being said, I thought Zaya and I seen eye to eye. We were doing really well. We were working everything out. Sorry, I hit the button. Anyway, we were working everything out, and everything was going good. And so he got ready to submit the credit application to everywhere along with the tax credit. Now, let me talk about the tax credit for a minute. So here in the state of Illinois, in order to qualify for the $4,000 tax credit, you can never have filed for a EV tax credit in the state of Illinois. I never have. So he wanted to verify, or Zaya said he was going to verify by submitting all of the information to the state of Illinois like I had already purchased the car. Now here's the problem with that. And I said okay, because I fully had intent of buying the vehicle. Now that he's submitted all of this information to the state of Illinois, now I'm asked out on getting a $4,000 tax credit or the rebate and buying the vehicle again, unless he reached out to them and let them know, hey, you know what, you didn't buy it, let's go ahead and cancel that. Which, as shady as he was, and you guys are going to realize this here in a moment, I highly doubt he's done that. So I'm actually waiting right now until Monday so I can reach out to the state of Illinois and let them know what the dealership did, unless they see this video or all the comments and posts and reviews that I've left all over the internet about them, and they call and make this right. But anyway, so Isaiah tells me that there's one finance company that I had actually told him that I knew for a fact that I had an approval with. I've bought a car and financed cars with them before, didn't have an issue with them. Their interest rates are typically a little bit higher, but I planned on either paying it off or refinancing it here relatively soon, so it didn't really matter to me. So he calls me back. He says, yes, you are approved. He says, but they need you to give them a call. They need to do an interview with you over the phone because you have a fraud alert on your credit file, and you need to reach out to the credit bureau and update your phone number that's on your fraud alert so they can process everything. I said, okay, no problem. So I reached out to the finance company. The finance company then had me turn around and call Experian. I called Experian. It was a very quick process. I think I was on the phone like maybe 15 minutes. Updated my phone number on the credit file, called back to the finance company. They were able to pull my credit report again, seeing that the number had changed and it matched the number that I was calling from. They did a quick interview with me over the telephone, and everything was done. They said I was approved. They told me I could walk out the door with just the $4,000 tax credit. I didn't need another dime out of my pocket, and they would finance everything else. Cool. So I thought, here's where things get interesting. So I'm getting ready to leave to go to Countryside to pick up the vehicle. And Zaya messages me and he says, hey, hold on before you come. They are saying you've got to wait 24 hours before you come because they had to clear up whatever with the credit bureau. I said, well, when I got off the phone with them, they told me that everything was cleared. The alerts was off my thing. I was good to go. I could come in. So he says, well, that's not what they told me. And then he sends me a copy and paste of the message that he supposedly had. So me knowing how to talk to these finance companies, I picked up the phone and I called them back and I asked them about it. And they said, no, that's actually an old message. Everything is cleared. We're looking at your deal. I gave them the application ID number. They said everything was cleared. You're good to go. Everything is fine. Let your finance manager know that if he has any questions, reach out to his credit analyst, Brian, and Brian will be able to instruct him and let him know that everything is clear. He's good to go. So I text him back. I let him know. And he says, well, I'm on the phone with them too. They're telling me something else. And I said, well, I highly doubt they're telling you something else because this is what they've told me. And I spoke with the credit department and the funding department. And the credit department said point blank, everything was good to go. And so he later texts me back about 20 minutes later and he says, okay, he goes, you're good to go. He goes, bring $1,000 and come pick up your car. I said, bring $1,000. That's not what I was approved for. I was approved for $4,000, which was the tax rebate out the door, and we're good to go. So here's where things get really interesting. So he then proceeds to tell me that he doesn't make the rules, he just follows them, and that the finance company said that I needed $1,000 on top of the $4,000 tax credit in order to drive off the lot or in order for them to buy the deal. So I picked up the phone again and I called the finance company back and I got somebody on the phone. And boy, did I ever get some answers on that phone call. So I come to find out that not only did he lie to me about the APR, the interest rate that he was claiming that they were charging, but he also lied to me about the down payment. He stated that they wanted a total of $5,000 down, when in all actuality, they only wanted the $4,000 from the tax rebate. They said that they looked through the entire deal. They called even his credit analyst and made a couple other phone calls to different departments to make sure that everything was the same everywhere. And it was only $4,000. That is all they wanted down. So what it boiled down to, I think, is Zaya probably got in his feelings and got a little upset because I knew the system. I knew what, how the game was played, and I wasn't taking his bullshit. I told him, here's what I'm willing to pay. This is what I'm going to do. This is what you need to do. Then when he tried to run me around and give me the games, I just went right past his, past him and called the finance company directly and got the answers. And he didn't like that. That's what it boils down to. It's what it has to boil down to. He lied to me about the APR. He lied to me about the down payment. God only knows what else he lied to me about. So I did a little digging on Zaya, and it doesn't look like Zaya can really hold a job as of lately, because the dealership that he's at now, he's only been there 6 months. The prior dealership that he was at, he was only there for 7 months. And prior to that was when he was actually steady with his income. He was there for 7 years. I don't know what's going on over at Countryside Mitsubishi, but I went through their Google reviews and God, were they great. So they have a lot of good reviews, but then they have a lot of really bad reviews. And it makes me wonder, because as you guys, for those of you that have been following me for a long time, you guys know I've talked about this before. There is services out there where companies and businesses can buy 5-star Google reviews and 5-star Yelp reviews and things like that. And it really makes me wonder if Countryside Mitsubishi is not doing that. Now, I tried to call Countryside Mitsubishi back and tried to get their general manager. And the couple people that I spoke to acted like they didn't know who the general manager was, and told me that the general manager manages all of their dealerships through the Countryside brand, and they didn't know who he was. I find that to be BS. So prior to making this video, I have filed a Better Business Bureau complaint. I have went on DealerRater.com and filed a complaint, or filed a review. Google, Yelp, Cars.com, Facebook, Indeed, anywhere that their name was mentioned where there was a review tab, I left them a review. And so we'll see what happens if anybody calls me from Countryside Mitsubishi. Oh, and they also have a YouTube page, which is going to be linked here in the video. So you guys are welcome to go over there and blow them up if you'd like. But extremely shady dealership. And then the thing that just threw me for a loop was when I basically told Zaya to go himself and that I wasn't going to fall for this BS. You know, I called back to the finance company one more time, and I spoke to somebody, and the guy tells me Chase or Chance, one or the other. He told me, he says, he goes, I am so sorry that you're dealing with this. He says, I'm not really supposed to tell you a lot of this information. He goes, but I am going to tell you. He says, because the stuff that you have told me, he goes, if I was in your shoes, he goes, I would go somewhere else. He says, and here's why. He says, your loan was approved with $4,000 down. We never told them that you need $5,000 down. He says, also, the interest rate that you are quoting to me, that you said that they told you that we approved it at, he says, it's completely different. He says, we approved it about 10% less than what they're telling you. Countryside Mitsubishi told me that the finance company approved it at 29.9%. That wasn't what it was approved at. So not only did they try to screw me out of another $1,000 and my tax rebate, they also tried to get more money on the deal by increasing what they, when a dealer increases APR, it's called points, when they increase the points. And so he really tried to screw me on this deal. So I don't know if it was something personal or if this is just how Countryside operates on a day-to-day basis. But I can tell you guys that if he did it to me, he'll do it to y'all. So if you guys are in the market for a vehicle and you're dealing with Countryside Mitsubishi, I would run somewhere else. When I texted him and told him that I found out the entire truth and that I knew that he was lying, he told me to enjoy going to Carvana. Stand-up guy, very professional. You guys should run on over there. Not. Anyway, guys, y'all have a great night. I just wanted to post this so everybody knew what a scum-sucking dealership Countryside Mitsubishi was. Y'all have a great day. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Have a good night.